Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase. So, what are we doing over here? Well, we are over in this corner of the map. I actually cleared some of this earlier, but just now the blighters have come in and killed my radar again. So I've just thrown down a few more laser turrets to try and stop them. This laser turret's actually been chalking up the kills, 59, so yeah, even on this map the biters are still an issue, even though they're kind of scaled back. Anyway, that's not the main thing that we are doing here. There is other stuff to be done. What I'm going to do is go to the oil for a we'll basically just use it as a turnaround, and then we can head back to the solar farm so you can see what we have done there, because that's what we were working on last time, and it's reasonably impressive. Let's have a quick look at production numbers. They're fairly low. Basically, we don't need prod modules at the moment. We have enough of them, and so everything's just idling. We still are producing the speed modules, but that's kind of about it. And this is how our solar farm is looking. Each 4 of these, you need about 21, maybe 22 for a gigawatt of power, and enough accumulators to support that. There's actually 24 here. Oh no, there's only 16 here. There's only 16. I need a third row before we can get to 24, but that should still be, when completed. It's not quite completed. Let's have a look actually at the power. We've got 11,000 of these now, so yes, as suggested, that's about 2/3 of a gigawatt. It's obviously going into night, so you're not really seeing the effect of it. You notice that this power is not drawn on until you reach the maximum of your power generation. So while we still have nuclear capable of supporting the factory, we won't actually get the benefit and see how well the accumulators can handle our situation. So we'll have to wait to daylight. We will try and do that. So yeah, basically we have the setup. It's very rudimentary. We actually need to enhance it a bit. Maybe I will just do a manual bit of driving, since this part of the main highway is actually not whoops. Here we go again. This is why we don't manually drive trains. Right, down there, down there, down there, down. Well, back up. Down here. And down here. And we actually might just stop up here. It should be fine. So what we need to do is basically start using these stations. So one of them needs to be solar weight, because we have our solar load, solar L. This can be solar W. For the post filling weight station, it will need a subscriber, because I want to engage this thing fully. It won't pick up these two because they'll be to do with the batteries. Let's give it the power that it doesn't need, and just check that it has been added here. Solar weight. I also added the speed module weight station, so that's set up properly. Set that up between times. Our request's doing, there's none, of course. So now what I want to do is go to our train here and change its schedule somewhat. We want to go to solar load, and then we want to go to solar wait. We're getting quite a few stations in here, and that's until circuit condition. So those two bits are fine. This third bit, empty cargo inventory, that actually could start to become problematic, because the numbers of accumulators that you use versus the numbers of solar panels that you use more solar panels in the formula for laying out solar, but this is not the only purpose of this. The other purpose, and actually the primary purpose, is for it to be used in the satellite creation. Anyway, I think what I'll do is it's probably not going to fully empty here. We might have to nursemaid it slightly, because otherwise I'll have to change, because the condition that gets set up automatically with my train publishers is until empty, because that's kind of what's expected. Drain the resources, move on. But this has got dual resources, so it's a slightly different situation. But the whole solar farm thing needs manual attention anyway, unless I tried to use what's it called, the recursive blueprints to auto lay these patterns, which I had in mind that I might try that. Actually, while we're here, the other thing that I want is to be able to have, I probably don't need it quite as close as this, but never mind, we'll put that in there. So basically we're putting radars in all the way along, so that we can see the whole thing, because we can't see this bit at the moment. And it basically, I could just put that into the pattern, and probably should, and make everything a bit easier. Obviously we need one up here, so let's see if we can do that. It looks like the robots are slowing down somewhat. Perhaps they've got most of this sorted already. But yeah, I guess the hold up is partly landfill. We will check that situation in a moment. But you can see the landfill's not there. It's down here. The whole patch is working. I think all of these are running. Not continuously, but good enough. How's this at? It's almost ready to come up and allow us to lay down some more. Although we don't need to be in a hurry, because if it's just going to sit here or sit at the landfill station, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. The other thing in terms of landfill is, how's this guy doing? 2.5k. It is probably worth our time to run up there and put some speed modules in there, just to speed that up. So anyway, what I was saying is, I think I will manually interfere here. I'm going to send this back to solar to load. That will trigger off this mechanism. We'll then need to set up a publisher there, but while I'm here, let's run up and get out of the way of the solar farm train. Let's run up here and head to, I guess it's iron smelting 1 hashtag. It'll be our closest station. do we have speed modules on us? We do. I'll throw speed modules into that last miner, maybe even see if we can put 2 miners on it just to clear it out faster, because then it will enable us to utilize this track for something more useful, occasionally picking up and having this whole setup for one little miner in the middle is kind of funny. There you go, there it is. Well, you could put a miner to each side of it, but that now the speed is what? It's the mining speed 0.5 or something without the. Hang on, let's just check that. Mining speed is 0.5. We put those in, it becomes 1.25. 150% faster. Actually, do I have... No, I don't have beacons on me. Oh well. 2.4k. And these things have a very tiny amount of landfill. But anyway, that will be gone soon, and so we'll be able to exploit this field, and we'll probably move into exploiting this one as well, because I may not have pointed it out recently, but if you start looking at some of these, this iron field is down to 8.1. This one is definitely in the danger zone. You can see there's a couple of iron ore trains here lined up, trying to fill but struggling. Most of the bots aren't even doing anything because there's so little action going on over here. I need to move that. Where else in the interior? Oh, this copper one is virtually gone. Coal. Well, I transferred the entirety of that over here, and now there's nothing down here. So it looks like we need to grab a splitter and at least send that both ways, because otherwise this will never fill and drain the remaining 230,000 or so. So yes, our plan to... Oh, this used to be 60 something million, it's now 30 million, so it's less than half. These are fairly new. 12 million, 22 million. They're dropping pretty fast, that's really what I'm trying to say. So our plan to clear out the resources is definitely working, but that's not the main purpose of this episode. The main purpose of this episode, I think, is to visit steel. We haven't looked at steel during this series. Let's go over to my hashtag steel. Is it in this list? Yes, steel 1. This is my little baby steel, and it's not fully set up, and it's not because we're running short of steel, because we're not. The reason I am going to do something here is because it just needs to be completed, and we are soon going to move on to setting up steel properly. So at the moment only this one is working, and you can see that there's only a little bit of it that actually is working. Iron trains are not supposed to come here unless they can be completely emptied, so I might have to check what's going on there, but basically let's get a temporary blueprint just to get a count. I'm just interested in the modules and beacon cost, so that's fine. Let's find a gap somewhere. The lights can go up there. So yeah, what I want to do now is oh, that's interesting. We never even finished. That's how incomplete this steel operation is. But yes. Well, we don't need to go off there. Going off the rails, literally. I know, terrible pun. And that all looks clear. So that is the pathway for the lower part. So yes, what I want to do is come up here There's a little bit of odds and ends that will immediately go to the rubbish when I do that. I may need to get more Logibots, but we can do that too. This is the one, isn't it? So let's get 1100 speed module 3s. It's not, by the way, it's not just, so that said 720, maybe we'll just round it up to 750. And 528, we might just make that 540, and maybe another 900 of our friends, the logistic robot. I don't know if we need that many or not, but let's get some. Should have sent a request. Very good. Now, yeah, as I'm saying, it's not just because of that that we don't have the modules here that we're here. The other reason is because this part hasn't actually been set up at all. It's probably got some weird names. Elijah, Nicholas. We don't really need those names. What names do we have? Steel Iron 1 unload, Steel Iron 2 unload. This could be Steel Iron 3 unload. And this can be Steel Iron 4 unload. And it says, I'm saying it's not because we are lacking steel at the moment. We've got tons of steel. It's not a short. There's definitely not a shortage of steel. In fact, if we look at our subscribers, okay, this needs a scroll bar as well. What do I even call my steel weight station? I probably need to make a second one of these too. Steel weight. So that should be in the subscribers here somewhere. There it is, near the top. So steel at the moment is only currently used by the Make Everything factory and by our solar farm network. I've probably missed the daylight cycle, haven't I? Well, this is building up, so we're probably going into it. So you'll see this will knock the requirement for nuclear below 5 gigawatts, so it already has. We're getting half a gigawatt coming from here, and we should shortly see, oh, there we go, we're getting the modules in. We should shortly see that this is up to about 2/3 perhaps, depending on how fully built out it is. And I don't know if I've really more than 2/3. Yes, because we've built about 16, which is, it's sort of 21, just over 21 of those stamps. We actually are using a bit of the steel. There you go. So 3/4 of a gigawatt we've got at the moment, and you can see it's definitely saving us some power with the nuclear. Now, yeah, what I was going to say about the nuclear is the nuclear has a wiring system here where it measures, basically this goes all the way back to these tanks. It measures the steam in the tanks, and, well, in one tank actually, but that's beside the point. It could be across the whole lot, and it will turn these guys off if there is enough steam, which there is at the moment. So basically it won't load anymore, it will just burn what it's currently got in its furnace, which actually is quite a lot, so the steam is likely to build up somewhat further, but it does have this mechanism to turn off, so it's not as good as completely removing it, but when turned off it's not really using UPS particularly badly, which is why we have plenty of UPS at the moment. So, back to this. What exactly is going on here? Oh, we're getting loaded up with something that I probably don't want. Maybe. I don't need to be calling in any of that just at the moment. Let me come over here. Oh, that's interesting. It's doing the job for us. How many construction bots has it got? 100. Nice. Do we have any beacons over here? We do. It won't do the bottom part. Oh, maybe it will do the bottom part. Oh, it will do the bottom part only in as far as the construction zone extends down there, so it won't do most of the bottom part. There is a separation there. But that's kind of good that it will fill this one up for us, so we only have to do the bottom really. I will put these guys down so I can unload my stuff somewhere. Keep the bots. Oops. And request in on the wrong one. We need beacons in the amount of say 200. We need these guys in the amount of 400, and we need these guys in the amount of, I don't know, 300. Well, oh, we must be auto trashing. We don't want to do that. And I don't know what my phone was beeping about. There doesn't seem to be anything important going on with it, but you know, modern phones. Okay, that seems to be fine. Let's just run down to the bottom of these two units in this. I'm going to call it mini steel smelting, because we will have a proper one built in probably in the not too distant future, as the plan moving forward is to we're basically going to head towards the rocket, launching rockets first, partly because that's the sexy part of the game, isn't it? Surely, or one of them. And also, if you look at SpaceX, the first requirement is just launching satellites, so we can knock that one off. Probably see if we can knock it off in a single episode. All 175 launches of that first component. First phase of SpaceX Extreme. Because we don't make the satellite any more expensive. That really would be punishing. Given its tie-in to space science, unless you had a multiplier on the amount of space science that got delivered. Almost out, but not quite. Can we complete this? Maybe. Nope, something is missing something. We're missing these guys. Somewhere? Not sure. Let's get a couple of roboports and see if we can make some sense of this. Do I not have any roboports? Maybe I didn't have any. Well, let's grab some off our trusty engineering train. That'll do, guys. I don't need a whole lot more. In fact, it may be that I actually need less. So there's those two. I can't see any more down here. Does it need any help up here? Probably not. But you can see that we're really not taxing it when we're only really using this small little hemisphere. Maybe no, we're still just, yeah, we're just using this little hemisphere of available items. Oh. But obviously we must have filled up our steel. Must have been called for somewhere. And another iron train. I'll have to check what's going on there. We don't need these guys anymore. Might keep one of those. Grab our stuff. So that has supercharged the steel operation. Now we are using publishers in here, aren't we? Yes. So what's our rule exactly? So I have this thing where it checks the it has these lights basically. So if iron is less than 2k across here, there's obviously plenty of space to empty a train cargo wagon into, so you'll get a green light. So that one's got a green light. This one on the other hand hasn't. As you can see, it's got too much, and it counts up the number of green lights, and it's ordering trains when it has 8 basically, because that will set P to 1. So I don't know why it's... oh, it hasn't ordered another train. And I think I might just duplicate that process down here. I think I've already got the infrastructure in place for it. And this needs to be basically named steel load as well. Okay, I'm obviously being a dummy. Got other things on my mind, so instead of trying to copy that station, we'll just type in steel load. Very good. Right. Now, are we getting 8 from there, 8 from there? These networks are separated, I guess. That's what I want to know. Just a normal wire, yes it is. Okay. So our setup up here was a combinator and those two guys. Let's get a couple of those guys then, a couple of the publishers. A train counter, a train publisher, and a combinator arithmetic. Yes, arithmetic. Now what does this do? Enable, disable. No, that's not what we are going to want to do. We are going to want to read train contents. That's not going to help, is it? What do we do up here? That is my one problem with doing this way. We don't do anything. We're still connected, but we don't do anything. So the problem will be this, basically. It's all very well counting these, but the train will come in, and then it will order another train while it's in the process of unloading. Unless I count the train. With another combinator. So we won't need that at all. We will simply connect up that. Actually, we can set it up here. That one can go to there. And that will be read train. Actually, let's make the output a P. So this one will be green signals -7, because there's 8 of them, so 7 will give us a 1. Output P. This will give us a huge number if a train is in there. So now let's connect these up. And that's simply reading number of trains coming. This one will be if the number of trains coming is less than P. We need iron, which we get from there. And now there's one coming. And that is what we... Oh, this one needs to be input. We don't actually need that to be input in any way other than that. Whoops. I think I was too slow. Yes, and I've messed up this as well. I've totally messed that up. Well, it will take a few of these, because they'll be, whatever resources they have will be stripped out immediately. What have we got? We've got 300 logistic robots. That's probably not enough, but none of these will be creating Ps, so it might be okay, but basically... Input signals, so I've got one. So that should be permanently off now. And unfortunately we're going to be swamped with trains trying to get in there. Never mind. Yes, yet another one. Oh, why are we getting another train? Is this not working? Read stop train, output P. 8. That one, -7, output P. That's less than P. Train isn't... Ah, of course, P is not just one anymore. I'm doing this... yes, of course. That can't be P, because that's not helping. Let's change that, not P, let's make it T like it normally is. An arithmetic combinator, which we will connect like so. And we'll basically say that T times minus 1 is P, so when there's 1 in here we'll get a minus P, and we will add, so that doesn't need to go there, that can go in there. That gives you a P, that gives you a minus 652 Ps, that cancels any other trains coming, and we've only got one train coming, so this will get on top of it fairly soon, hopefully. And yes, hopefully we'll get it right for this one. Okay, a train counter. I'm not sure if that all made some sense, but this time it should do. So what we're doing is we're not enabling, disabling, we're reading the stop train, we're outputting a T. Now we have two arithmetic combinators. That doesn't need to go there, that needs to go there, that needs to go there. So T times minus 1 becomes P, so when there's a train in here, it won't order anymore. This one will say when green signals minus 7, so when there's 8 green signals we'll get a positive P, and then we connect that to that, to that, to that, and this one gets the command that when trains on the way are less than P, when trains on the way are less than P, why aren't we getting our publisher? I don't know. But that generally is what we're trying to do with steel. We'll need another steel train. I'll try and sort out whatever's going on here offline, and I'll see you in the next. Thanks for joining me for this one. Bye bye for now.